Hello and welcome to Alvinley Railways. I decided to do an edited version of this video you're about to see, which was my last video. This time you get the full commentary and you get a lot more footage of what I've been doing over the last few weeks. Elizabeth had 2 runs out on 2 decent days weather-wise, and Ivy's been out a few times. The Scamp had a bit of work done on it, as you'll see, and the log train ran again, as you'll see at the end. Also, Wayland makes a welcome return. So I hope you enjoy this rather large video of the Ivy Railway. You're about to see the longest train ever on this railway. Earlier in the day, this was how things started. The first steam up of this year, and another problem with the water due to the frost. That was soon remedied. It was quite an early start for me. I'd just taken Sarah to the station because she was away for the day. So I got home and I thought, yeah, let's have a steam up. So the first steam up of this year. I start the fire here with charcoal, which has been soaked in paraffin. Let it burn through. I've already got the blower on, which is connected to the battery. You can see at the side there. Obviously I've already got water in the boiler, which I'll put in through the blowdown valve. You can see a bit of progress with the fire. I'll use a couple of jars of charcoal, but I tend to start it with the weaker battery and then change it to the more powerful one, just so things are eased up gently. I've got my injectors on here, just testing them. Add in a little bit more water just before I leave the shed. So the way you start this loco and any other steam loco, obviously you need water in your boiler before you start the fire. You need plenty of reserve water in your tank. On this loco it's a saddle tank. You can see the safety valves going off. You need to keep an eye on the water the whole time. To start the fire you need the blower going. But I find when you get up to about 30 psi, you can let the loco blower take over. You go around the engine oil in it, and then you're pretty much ready to go. Keep your eye on the water the whole time, and keep your eye on the fire. So when I'm filming this, I'm doing 3 jobs really, because I'm filming, I'm driving, and I'm firing the loco. So you've got to really keep your eye on everything. It's easy to make a mistake if you're not careful. What I'm operating there is the cylinder drain cocks. It's an unusual system with this loco, but it all goes to one place where you can control it, and you open them to start with so that any excess water can be drained away. Once you're on the move, the blower can be pretty much almost closed, but just keep it open a little bit. The little tank you can see there, the little brass coloured tank on the bottom left, that's for the axle box lubrication. It goes from that box to a pump lever just below where the foot plate is, and then that takes the oil to all 4 axle boxes. That's another unusual thing about this loco. So from left to right, those valves are the left-hand injector valve. Can't see them there. The blower, the right-hand injector valve, and the whistle. When you operate the injectors, it's using steam under pressure, obviously, to push water into the boiler. It's a very clever system. There's an injector on both sides of the loco, and they both work really well. You put the water on first, using the little taps on the footplate that you sometimes see, and then the injector comes on after, and you get that nice whistling, sort of sucking sound from the injectors. That's the brake column there, which I've got the shovel hanging down from. There's a lot of pressure in the boiler, obviously. At the moment on that gauge you can see it's roughly 80. The loco can run up to 120 psi. And with all that pressure, it's hard to get water into the boiler, so it has to be forced in. Here I took my eye off the ball a bit and let too much water in, and then you get what's classed as priming, where it's a very damp experience. There's lots of water coming out as well as steam. But it does look good. There's the Hackworth valve gear. I didn't build the loco. I bought it from the person who built it, but I did build the tender, which I'm sitting on there. The only part of that I didn't build were the bogies, which I bought second hand from someone. The same person I bought the track off, actually. It's good, but the only thing is, I think the gauge of the wheels is slightly wider. I don't know whether they might even be 7.5 inches instead of 7.25. And what happens is when you go over a frog on the point, you get a bit of a bump. Sometimes it does ride up a little bit. I've sort of ground down quite a lot on the frogs, but I still have a bit of an issue now and again. Also, the suspension on those bogies is very, very light, so I might end up replacing the suspension on it. I was just looking a bit curious there because I noticed that lubricator wasn't working again, although I had cleaned it before I put the engine away last time. So what I needed to do was get out some carb cleaner and use that on it. It sort of solves the problem for a bit, and then it just seems to need it again next time. It's when the oil gets into the mechanism, that's the problem. It makes it slip rather than catching. The set of points that are behind you now, I normally would not take Elizabeth past because I had a couple of derailments, but I accidentally did it on this day. I completely forgot and went over absolutely fine. So I tried it a few more times, and every time it went over well. You can see the Hackworth valve gear being reversed. You always have to keep your eye on a steam engine because there's always something you have to do. So there I'm operating an injector again. You can see the taps for the injectors just there on the footplate, on the long poles. That's the drain cock again. Closed off. I remember when I was a kid, it always used to fascinate me looking at the track under the stock when I was on a miniature railway. That's where I took apart the lubricator to give it a spray with some carb cleaner, and it did make a difference. But next time I use the loco, which you'll see at the end of this video, it needed to be redone. 3 locos, 3 coaches and a brake van. The Scamp is diminutive compared to Ivy. Tiny little thing. Powerful though. It's been a successful steaming morning so far. What time are we on? Nearly 11:30. Started at 8. Took nearly 2 hours to get him ready, but doing well. Just took my neighbour and her grandchild on for a ride, which they enjoyed. In 5 months' time, the railway will be 4 years old. It's gone by very quickly. So I'm just sat here on my own. Oh, hang on.
Oh.
Who's this?
Bonjour, it's a Frenchman.
It's me mate Wayland. I feel that my last video was a bit boring, so I think I need someone like you to liven it up.
No,
This one.
I don't know about that, mate, to be quite honest.
Oh, you always do. You always
I don't know
do.
about that.
So what you been up to? Well, I know what you've been up to, but do you want to tell
Well,
me?
I've been doing a little engage.
And it's looking lovely.
And I've been doing a bit more little engage, and I've been buying lots of stuff while the wife's been away.
This
And
is going to be public, you do
Now
realise.
she's back. I've had to ease up because I've had a load of parcels come this morning. But
Well, you've made that public now, you do realise.
but they was anonymous. The parcels were who they.
Yeah,
who
but this
sent them.
video won't be anonymous.
No, but I haven't spent that much.
Good.
So I've come over and been my mate's ear
Yeah.
this morning.
Well, I've been trying to. I don't know what that was.
No, I don't.
I've been.
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been trying to be self-controlled with all these sales and stuff, but it's hard. It's hard, mate. But yeah, so you've got sound-fitted Steam now and N-Class, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got sound-fitted 28.
28.
Kobo.
Yeah. I've acquired some others off of a gentleman across the road.
Brilliant. It's lovely. I love it. And yeah, I showed our friends Keith and Mike, and they were impressed as well.
Yeah, I've got a few. Well, I've still got a lot to do on it, but
yeah,
I'm already looking to extend it.
Brilliant. So you got that. You got your 009, and you got your 16 mil in the garden.
The 00 I can do. I've got the 16 mil outside.
Yeah.
I'm looking at an alteration for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's coming on all right.
Fantastic. So we're just sat behind Elizabeth now, still steaming today. And do you want one more run, do you reckon, mate?
Yeah.
What do you reckon? One more run.
Yeah, just as well, mate.
She's ready, I think, so we'll go up again. On days like this I wouldn't run the Ivy Railway, but I'd do some work inside on my layouts. On my Scamp I decided to try a new filter. As the old one looked pretty knackered, but I'm no mechanic, so I don't know what I'm doing, but I just thought I'd change it and see how things were, but it does seem to run a bit smoother now, so whether that made any difference or not, I don't know. I've also added some additive to the Petrol to make sure it doesn't go off. I was amazed to find out that Petrol can go off. I only found out that fairly recently. But that screw that you can see in the middle, that you undo that, get the top off, get to the filter. I got it out, gave it all a good clean because there was lots of oil, like oily residue in there, so changed that. It was a bit of a game to get the bonnet off to check the oil. I basically got a manual online for the engine and for the Lonkin engine, and it told you where everything was, and I thought it's about time I gave it a good look over. So the choice was either undoing all those screws or doing what I did to take the bonnet off, which was basically undoing the throttle and the electronic controller. But the Loco had quite a lot of oil in it, so, and it looked pretty clean, so doing oil seemed fine. So there's a close-up of the engine. I gave the whole Loco a clean. That's the switch there for the electric, and then you've got the petrol control and the choke as well. There's the throttle. Then you've got the electrical throttle, which is basically a pot underneath the footplate. Got the brake lever there, and various other controls, horn, lights, direction. I have mentioned before but for anyone new to this, the Loco's petrol electric, so that's the reason you've got the mechanical throttle, and then you've got the electrical one as well. Electricity is generated via a generator. There's a light one end of the Loco, but it'd be quite nice to have on the other end as well. And obviously here's where you put the petrol in. This was an old mat from Ivy, which I used to stop things from moving a bit more than they were. You cut it up. And made a cover for the foot panel as well. The problem is with the new arrangement in Ivy, it does get pretty muddy and there's a lot I need to do with it. So this Loco I do try and pull out from the coupling rather than the bonnet, because it can come loose. It's just slotted in basically. Been running really nicely, the Scamp. It's not had any trouble with it lately at all. It's been good generally. I think once or twice I had an issue, but I'm not sure what caused it. It's literally just working off electricity generated by the petrol engine. Just brilliantly designed little engines. You can get a book actually about the history of how the Loco came about. You have to remember to have it in neutral and brake on when you sit down, because you can operate the speed control there with your thigh if you're not careful. So I might have to move that. That wasn't part of the original plan of the Loco, that was a modification. It's not a bad thing or anything, it's just you've got to be careful. We've had so many high winds lately that you really should, I really should check the track before I run a train up there. You can see the suspension, which is just a little rubber block there. Very effective. And It's especially nice to ride on with the padded seat rather than the slatted seat that I had before. It's much more comfortable. You appreciate comfort at my age. Yeah, the wind can cause a lot of problems. You do really need to inspect the track before you go on there. See that little scrape there? That's just where the engine got caught on a bit of slate. It's quite low, as you can see. It's very low. Always getting bits of logs falling from the trees. Decided to take the stock out for the first time in ages from undercover and give it a little ride. Yeah, I forgot to mention this was before the footage that you saw at the start of the video of the steam engine going with all the stock. So yeah, this was I don't know, maybe a couple of days before. At the end of this video, I've got some footage, again some more steam footage that I took this morning, because it was a lovely bright sunny day and it was actually really warm for a January day. Got this area here. We just recorded a strange commentary which we might use. That's how the wind destroyed all these bottles. They're not special bottles, they were just left there. But it's weird what it did. Not quite sure how that worked. But it's nice to go up and down with a full train rather than just an engine. Even if I'm not doing anything with it, it's just nice. When you push the stock to put it away, you can see quite how powerful the engines are to actually push that round there, especially if they've got people on. It's quite a gradient to go up there, and it's a bit of effort. That roof needs to be sorted this year. So I've only been doing this for about half an hour, just over, maybe 40 minutes, and you can see we're already up to 30. Yeah, having the batteries charged makes a big difference. The blower obviously works faster and more efficiently then. I like to start it slow if I can, just to build things up a bit so it doesn't shock anything. One thing I haven't shown you before is this hand pump. This basically comes off, and this is for emergencies or just to get the engine going if you didn't want to fill it up from the blowdown valve. So yeah, it's useful. So basically you've got the two pumps under there, and obviously you've got your two injectors, so there's quite a lot of ways of getting water into that boiler. Sit back with a beer or a coffee or whatever chills you out, and enjoy some nice, relaxing views of the Ivy Railway without me rabbiting on. The part for the chainsaw turned up, so I was able to do some more wood sawing. I still got some left from the ash tree that came down. There's still quite a few stumps of that left, as you'll see later. And so I was able to make a couple of trips, so a little bit more wood for the fire. We don't have that many fires in the winter because we run dehumidifiers, which get things quite warm in the house without having to do fires. But obviously when it gets too cold, we do use the fire. We don't have any other form of heating apart from a little electric heater which we can put on, but obviously that's very expensive. So an afternoon of sewing up logs would probably do 2 or 3 days of in the fire. It's a very short trip, but it's quite handy. And then it's just a short trip for me up to the house, take the logs up to the house and back down. Where I saw up the tree is quite close to where it came down on my neighbour's land. The tree had to be brought down, I think it was probably a year and a half ago maybe, because it was near the road, and so the council asked that it be brought down because it was an ash with ash dieback. So it's been quite handy for using for firewood. been doing more and more clearing of the line and various bits of maintenance to get it up to scratch. Various bits of levelling and moving more and more leaves. Pretty much there now, but it's a constant job to keep it all up together. I've been chopping out a bit more here so that people can get off the coach there easily enough, and also doing a little bit of work on the steps there. Just here, just past the blade on this set of points, the rail had came away. Ivy had just gone over it, and I went back to have it. It was a bit rough going over. I went back to have a look, and the rail had come away completely, so I ended up having to fix that down. I had a problem with the Ivy wise and mad speed selection, and unfortunately I got it going to a degree, but I had to clean out the switch, and then I was losing light, and then everything where I'd soldered it came apart in the end, so I had to give it up. So that's the next job to do. Clumsy fall in action. Thank you so much for watching. Please come back soon.